I'm Rosie Hardy. This is Rosie Hardy Gardening. Today I'm just going to be doing a little bit about plants that you can have in a small border for winter interest. If you do enjoy our videos, please help us by subscribing to the channel. So I have got a selection here of herbaceous perennials. That is what I specialise in, and that is what I'm able to show you here. I will at the end give you a list of shrubs that you could add into this to give you more winter interest, but it's amazing how many herbaceous perennials will still give you interest right the way through the actual winter months. Now this border is about 1.5 meters deep, so that is around about 4 or 5 feet, and it's about 3 meters long, so that is 9-10 feet. So it's not a large border, but you can put a reasonable amount of material in there, and this is the sort of spacing that I would suggest that you do when you are putting and laying out plants. Now these are going to grow. Some of these are in larger containers, so you just need a single plant. Some of them are in smaller containers, so you could put a clump of 3 in there. And basically what I've done is I've started at the far end with that bit perhaps being slightly drier and catching the sun more, and then this end getting much less light. Now that could be any border whereby, you know, there's a gap and it gets really hot and sunny. Even in the winter time, there's always a bit that gets more sunny than the others, and then the other lot's going into the shade. So what have I actually got in here? There's a mixture of sedges and grasses and hellebores and EPIMEDIUM. So up here in the shady area, we've got EPIMEDIUM here showing beautiful foliage. We've got Brunnera here. We've got a super hellebore here. I've got a grass. Now this grass is Versicolour autumnalis. That has a lovely green tuft, and then these heads just stay there. Another little EPIMEDIUM here. Begonias, they're always great. This one happens to be Tissington White. A juga, that's going to meander its way through there. I've got a couple of those. They'll just make a really good mat. Now this amazing plant at the back here is Amsonia illustris, and at the moment it's showing you its beautiful autumn foliage, lovely purple stems. It's going to lose that foliage, but the stems will stay for quite a long time. So you're not just looking at, then in the spring that's going to be a lovely bright blue colour. So once these start to carry on and mature, they're giving you colour at the moment, they're giving you form at the moment, and then what happens is those ones which are going to flower now, so such as the hellebores, they're in full flower, they will die back down with their flowers, and then their foliage will take over. So they are basically evergreen. Your jugas will come up into flower later. This beautiful one here is Veronica gentianoides Tissington White. Now this is a plant that we have had in the Hardy's family for many generations, and it wasn't named, but Rob's grandfather had it, and wherever house he moved from, he took it with him to every single garden, and it stays in Hardy's gardens all the way through wherever we live. And that has beautiful, nearly white, they are very soft blue flowers, beautiful heads on there, and that will flower in the spring. So that's going to have lovely heads which are up to around about 18 inches or 45 centimetres. Foliage just stays semi-evergreen, so that is really useful. Hellebore tucked at the back. Why tucked at the back? Because nothing else is high at the moment, so you'll still see it. And then when it has finished all of its beauty, the things like the telema, Rubra Group there is going to come up and have fantastic flower. The EPIMEDIUM will have fantastic flower in the spring as well. The euphorbia will come up. This is not one of the really tall CAREX types. It's one which is a black pearl, so it's got lovely dark centres to it. Another begonia there. And then we're moving into the slightly drier area here. Pulmonaria just on the edge, getting a bit of shade. Another one of these lovely hellebores, and this one has a beautiful foliage. So you're getting, this has got marbled foliage. So they aren't just grown for their flowers, they also have superb foliage. And then things which sit up and are evergreen, the sedges. This is CAREX buchananii, very upright. But, you know, in a border like this, nice. It's giving you that sort of lift, and the wind will just go through it and everything else. There's a TIARELLA at the back there, and then we're moving on into slightly drier, still things which will take part shade though. So this SAXIFRAGA is SAXIFRAGA Monarch, absolutely delightful saxifrage, and that will take a bit of shade. So that's going in drier soils here, and then moving on over to the stuff that is at this end here, which really wants to be slightly sunnier and slightly drier. You've got a CAREX here. This one you can see sort of has outrageous hairstyles, but basically if you don't want it to seed around, these are the bits that you need to be pulling off and taking out, because that's the seed, and then you don't get it seeding around all over the place. So you would get rid of that bit of straw from that plant, but it flows over, so it's something that could go in a container. SANTOLINA, brilliant. Now these are at the point whereby all of the flowers should be cut off now, and then you can have the grey foliage. They make lovely grey mounds. They're a very good alternative to box. Here in the UK we've got real problems with box, with the all the diseases and everything else are in there, so we're trying to find other alternatives. These things clip. You can just clip them. If you don't like the yellow flowers, you clip the flowers off. You know, there are always ways around these things. TEUCRIUM lucidrys. Now, TEUCRIUM lucidrys is a very old hedging plant. This is hedge germander, so this is a herb. So this has lovely pink flowers, but if you cut all of that off early enough, you get a beautiful mound of green again. So that is just something to sit in there. And then you've got HEUCHERELLA here as well. And they will all give you flower. They will all look stunning through the winter months, giving you some sort of form and aspect. And then in all of these little gaps that you've got, because you've got new plants which have not spread out, you've got room to put your bulbs. And then if you put your bulbs a little bit lower behind something which has got a huge big foliage like this, as the bulbs die down, you don't see all of the dead foliage going down as well. So you could mix this and then it will just take off. Snowdrops in here, small dwarf narcissus in here in the spring. It will look absolutely beautiful. And you just have so much contrast. This is the thing with the winter borders. It's all about the contrast. Flat leaves. There's one plant I haven't talked about, just noticed, and that is this little one here. This is Globularia. Now, Globularia just makes a mat of absolutely beautiful little tiny leaves, and it will scramble around. Then its flowers are blue on the top of that in the spring. So you've got all of this stuff. Nearly all of these plants are going to come up and they're going to flower. You've got the LYCHNIS at the far end giving grey foliage over there. That's going to flower in the middle of the summer. And you know, you can mix and match, put in your bulbs. It will look fantastic. I said I would give you a list of shrubs that you could add into a border like this. So things that you want are things that are evergreen, things that have colourful stems, maybe have berries, or that flower later on. So really good are things such as cornus. Anna's orange, for instance, absolutely beautiful, lovely stems on that. There are masses of Cornus sanguinea types that you can utilise, from green stems through bright reds, purples and oranges. So they look really great in here. Osmanthus davidii, I love that. It's a really, really super thing. Lovely small green leaf. You can train it to be whatever size you want it to be, and that would work really well in here. Sarcococca, or the winter box, that is stunning. It has the most beautiful scent from its flowers in the spring, so that one is great as well. Some of the dwarf ilex would look good in here. So anything like that you could mix and match, and it's really up to you, but that will enhance it because that will give you height. Yeah, at the moment the highest thing we've got is the Amsonia, and maybe later on in the year, and that's not going to be flowering until probably the middle of the summer, and that is the LYCHNIS here. But the LYCHNIS is giving you grey foliage at the moment, and its flowers will be up there. So what I would suggest is you could put something like a nice shrub in here somewhere. You could have another lower shrub somewhere here, and another one at the back like that. So I would think about 3 shrubs added into this border to just give a bit of extra oomph and height to whatever you are growing, and an additional layer to all of this border. Thank you very much for watching, and please do subscribe to the channel.